Hi friends, it's Miss Kat here. I'm coming to you from safe within my home, just like I'm sure that you're safe within your home. And I want to do a project with you today to bring a little bit of theater magic into your house while we're all waiting to get back together and make some theater magic at PAC. So what we're going to be doing is making a shadow puppet theater with some very simple shadow puppets. It's something we've done at PAC a few times and it can be really exciting and fun. And I think it's a pretty simple project. So let's get right into it. The things that we'll need are a cereal box. Any box will do, but cereal boxes are nice, easy to cut, and most of us have them on hand. A pair of scissors, a pen, a ruler, some glue or tape, doesn't really matter which, you can use either. I'm going to be using a hot glue gun for the purposes of this video just because it's faster. If you have that, that's great too. Just make sure that you have parental supervision for any hot or sharp tools that you're using for this project. A sheet of plain copy paper. Again, you could use almost anything for this. You just want to make sure it doesn't have any writing on it. It could be tissue paper, it could be a thin sheet of white fabric. This is going to be our screen, so we just want light to pass through it. Some sticks for our puppets. These are chopsticks that I happen to have. Could be straws, could be pencils, could be anything. And for our actual puppets, we just want something that is like cardstock. We can use our cardboard, but it's a little bit easier to cut something thinner. So these are index cards. I found that they're the perfect weight, and that's what I'm going to be using in this video. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is make the window for our screen. We want to compare our screen to our box. And if you're using a standard sheet of copy paper and a regular cereal box like I am, your paper's a little bit bigger, so that's great. All we need to do is make a little window. So I'm going to measure about a ½ inch up from all of the creases. You want to make sure you don't include the tabs. My box is already collapsed. From the corners all the way around to make a rectangle. Okay, we've got our rectangle drawn, and what we're going to do is cut out the center of it. So we want to save this scrap because we will definitely use that later. And the next thing that we want to do is to have our front opening, turn our box around, and this bottom edge we want to cut in from this corner and this corner. Doesn't really matter how much yet, we're going to cut the rest of it later. But we just want to make sure that we have an opening there. And the next step is to make our box into a box again. I am going to use hot glue for this. And there you have a box with a hole in it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is find those slits that we cut earlier in the back and stick our scissors in and cut all the way across that bottom edge. bottom edge down here. We're going to measure an inch, cut at edges here. We're going to measure down an inch from the top and draw a line all the way across here. Okay, there's our line. And now we want to find the middle point of the box, the width of the box. And you want to mark that and draw a second line to meet your first one. Okay, so we have one line going straight up and one line going straight across. We're going to cut up from our cut edge across this line and over here to create two flaps. Okay, now we have our doors. Close them up again and lay our box down with the opening up towards us. Get our sheet of paper that we'll be using as our screen, and we want to cut it to the right size. So for me, the dry fit, I just kind of fold it over gently and use that to make my lines. And we just want to secure it with some tape. Glue would work also. Tape's a little bit easier to manage. And now your shadow theater is done. So the next thing we want to do is make some puppets for it. There are lots of ideas online for shadow puppets. You can download images directly. There are silhouettes that you can copy. If you have a favorite storybook or a coloring book, those are great resources for images that you can trace. I just drew mine directly onto the index cards and cut them out. You just want to keep them small enough that your characters can interact in your theater. So if you make a big theater, you can make bigger puppets, but mine are pretty small. So all I'm going to do is, after I've drawn them and cut them out, is take my stick, in this case it's a chopstick, and tape them directly onto my puppets. Okay, there they are. So now we are technically ready to do our puppet show. But I did want to take a second to show you that with a little bit of extra time and effort, you can make your puppet theater a little bit fancier if you were so inclined. What I did was I took a lot of the scrap fabric material that I had left over from cutting out my window, and I cut some extra pieces. And I created this. So These are just more pieces of cardboard. These three I cut out and I colored to look like a curtain. And I made this kind of arch out of more cardboard to sort of look like the theater's a little bit bigger than it really is. I drew some columns on the side. There are lots of ways that you can customize this and make it a little bit more exciting to look at. You can use stickers, drawings, you can wrap the outside. I think it would be neat to put a handle or maybe put some ribbon to tie it up and close it when you're done. But either way, there are lots of possibilities, and I definitely want you to think about them when you're making your theater. So, our puppet theater is ready to be used, and we have our puppets. So the only other thing that we will need is a light source. A flashlight is great for this. A phone is also wonderful. You just want it to be something that you can have back here with you so that everyone else can see the light shining through the screen. So once you have a darkened space, you want to move your puppet theater back and light source is on. Get it situated. And your puppet show can begin. Now the cool thing about shadow puppets is that you can manipulate a lot of things about the way they show up on the screen just by moving them closer to or farther from the light. So for example, if I want this character to grow, I can start to pull him back towards my light source and he can get really big. They can also obviously turn direction and walk away from each other, or they can walk towards each other, they can give each other a hug or a kiss. And that's about it. Thanks so much for watching. If you decide to craft along with me, please share pictures of your puppets in your puppet theater with the hashtag PhillyPack. I'll be checking, and I can't wait to see you very soon. Bye!